Hey, it's April 15th, 2020. Yeah, this is Stephan, man, visiting from the West Coast. I'm visiting down here, down south in Memphis, Tennessee. And where I'm at, I'm deep in the hood in North Memphis, at the shelter where I used to stay at. It used to be called Lighthouse Mission Ministries. That was the name of the shelter at the time, in which I pretty much brung in the new millennium and pretty much brung in my birthday, turning my whole life around up in this place. You dig what I'm saying? When I left St. Louis in December of '99, 2 days after Christmas, December of 1999 is when I left. I ended up here in Memphis, Tennessee, down here at Lighthouse Mission Ministries, in which I brung in the new millennium, turning my whole life around. You dig what I'm saying? Brung in 2000, turning my whole life around. And I lived in this place for about 6.5 months. The first week and a half I was here, I end up, getting, gotta let that bike pass. I end up getting a job the first week and a half I was here, because it was a temp service here at the time. It was at Valley Soap Products, in which, they liked the way I worked, so they kept me on. You dig what I'm saying? I'll show you a little bit around. Hold on. Yeah, I was staying right up in them bunks, man. Definitely. Yeah, it didn't look too much like this then, but this where all the weights used to be at, man. Where I used to come out, me and some of the other fellas, man, we used to come out and work out here, man. Whenever we had some time or whatever, hey, just get that workout on. You dig what I'm saying? Yep, deep right in the heart of North Memphis, right here on Jackson and Chelsea, man. Well, this is a little bit before I started school, and this is where I started my life at, man. Made it, survived the streets, and end up coming here, man, just starting a whole new life. You dig what I'm saying? And this was just the beginning of humble beginnings right here. Of course, now this place is called the Safe Harbor of Memphis. That's what it's called now. But back in 2000, Lighthouse Mission Ministry. So, you know what, man? I'm glad that I made it up out of this place. And you know what? You can do anything you put your mind into. Y'all be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. You dig what I'm saying? April 15th, 2020. Man, it's Stephan right down south, visiting from the West Coast. I'm down south here in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting, and right behind me is the old apartment I used to stay in back in late 2000 and early 2001 when I first got up out the shelter. You dig what I'm saying? Right in the Midtown area, in which the old printing job I used to work at was right around the corner, Star 2 Printing. It was located on Cooper Avenue. And of course, this place didn't look that much like it did then, but it still got some improvements now. And I must say, this was the fanciest / raggediest place I ever been in. But I had some good times though. I know crazy that may sound, but yeah, it's true. But you know what? This was like a beginning of a new life with me going to school and all when I started Memphis College of Art. And you know what? Hey, you can do whatever you put your mind into. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. You dig? April 15th, 2020. Man, this is Stephan right here. I'm visiting from the West Coast. I'm down here down south in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting. And where I'm at, the area I'm at now is in Orange Mound, where right behind me is the old rooming house I used to live in 19 years ago while I was going to Memphis College of Art. You dig what I'm saying? And keep in mind, in this rooming house, I lived in the basement part where it wasn't no windows. So it was roughly a year that I lived here, working on my artwork and doing my studies. And this is while I was working a job too at the same time. So yeah, man, of course, this rooming house right now is vacant right now. So yeah, at least I made it up out, man. And it just shows you right here that you can do anything you put your mind into. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, that was 19 years ago. But you know what? Y'all be safe. and I'll holler right back at you. April 16th, 2020. Hey, this Stephan here, man. I'm down south, right down here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm visiting from the West Coast and from California. So right behind me is, I'm here in the Midtown area, and right behind me is what you see is the old college that I graduated from, Memphis College of Art. I graduated in the class of 2004. Okay. I'm gonna get straight down to it. I'm gonna start off by saying that I'm glad that, I was able to change my life with my artwork and stuff like that, going to this school, as well as me experiencing different art mediums such as painting, sculpture, welding, and et cetera, life drawing and stuff like that. And then, of course, I was glad that I was able to go across seas twice. Once to Berlin, Germany in the spring of 2003, and then to Paris, France in the spring of 2004. I was definitely glad that I, went, to those trips, because it was a hell of an experience, and I loved it, seeing different art museums and stuff like that. So a small part of me is, sad that this school didn't shut down, because, it helped me change my life around with my artwork, and I got my bachelor's degree in fine art, sculpture, graphic arts, stuff like that. So I'm glad of that. However, since I got that out the way, however, I'm gonna tell you why a real big part of me is glad that this school didn't shut down, because of the simple reason, man, they gave me a ton of hard time here. I mean, when it came to minority students like me that came from the hood, that came from the streets, that came from, those ghetto environments, urban environments, ghetto is an attitude. It's not a race, it's an attitude. Remember that. Come from those urban environments, they gave me a hard time because I always said something. Because I got tired of them, how they'll treat, have their favorite students, from different other environments that are, more, wealthy or whatever. They was their favorite students. They gave them hooked them up with some of the good jobs after college, where ones like me, we steady had to get out on the grind. And I mean, just literally get back out on the dirt and mud after we done got through doing 4 years of college. You dig what I'm saying? And right along with that, it was certain staff, not all, but certain staff that was, always doing all this behind the scenes cutthroating, with other students, killing other students' dreams, not just from students that came from the hood, but other urban environments as well, others that came from the trailer parks and others that came from reservations and so forth. And so then they couldn't stand the fact that I spoke up a lot about that. They always targeted me because they knew that I was telling the truth. Of course, they targeted another gentleman too and a couple of others, but they knew I was the main one that was telling the truth, and they couldn't stand it. Like, for a prime example, I'll illustrate this for a prime example. Yeah, prime example is that it was one time in my junior year when a teacher got a student to tear down one of my sculptures that I did and getting it ready for my first art exhibit. Now, they didn't know that I knew a reporter. They thought I was gonna do the old, just going off and fighting and cussing or whatever. They did not know that I knew a reporter from the Lamplighter newspaper at that time. So I called that reporter up, and I told that reporter about what happened to my sculpture. Guess what? That reporter started calling, not only the school but the certain staff, asking them, is it true that you love killing folks' dreams and being creative, in creativity, excuse me on that, being creative. So Next thing you know, of course, they kind of bagged up off me a little bit after a while, but I still didn't trust them because simple reason, I knew that they were still up to no good regardless of what you do. You dig what I'm saying? Now, I could have went to Art News and busted all of them out, but the only reason why I didn't, because, hey, I had to beat them in their own game and get that degree, get that bachelor's degree, in which I did, in which I really did it for myself, but at the same time, I didn't know that I was standing up for other people as well up in this school, in which, hey, I'm cool with that. I was speaking up for people that, couldn't speak up for themselves, so I'm cool with that. And they just didn't like the fact that I was telling the truth, and this was between the time I was going to school from 2000 all the way till I graduated from May of 2004. And at that time, it was the beginning of a new life for me because, me coming from the Midwest, back from the north side of St. Louis originally, but South Central LA is my second home. I came from the street, you know what I'm saying? They didn't like me because I originally came from the street. I was fresh up out the shelter house. I was fresh up off them streets, off them blocks. You dig what I'm saying? Going up to their school, that's what they did not like. Now, look, I don't care, what people say or what lies they tell you or how convincing they sound, but when it comes down to it, hey, the truth is the truth, no matter how many people go to the grave not believing it, and a lie is a lie, no matter how many people go to the grave believing that dumb mess. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, and as far as the article, at the Lamplighter newspaper, Memphis newspaper, you can look up the title is Disturbed Images by Stephan Caddell, page 17, written by Denise Parkinson. That was the name of the journalist who worked for the Lamplighter newspaper, the October of 2003. You can Google that, look that up. Disturbed Images by Stephan Caddell in the Lamplighter newspaper, Memphis, Tennessee, October 2003, page 17. You can Google that, and if you can't find it, you can also, contact me, and I'll even send you a copy, or give you a physical copy. Well, or if you want a physical copy from me, hey, it'll be a couple of bucks. Not trying to sell stuff online, but anyway, it's not all about the money. It's all about getting the truth out and the message out. But anyway, you can just look that up. And I'd like to give shout outs to that journalist, that, gave me, an opportunity to do an article on me, and also the few other people out there that believed in me when a whole lot of other people didn't. You dig what I'm saying? So it was like once I graduated in May of 2004 from this school, got my bachelor's, 2 weeks after I got my bachelor's in May of 2004, I went straight to California, and I haven't looked back ever since. And then, of course, yeah, true enough, I work a regular job doing security, but hey, I also been doing my artwork, participating in art exhibits, doing some, acting, stand-up comedy, poetry, stuff like that. So hey, things been looking pretty good, even though I got a student loan that's been hanging over my head, still, and I want that student loan to be erased. And one of these days it will get erased. Best believe that. But yeah, man, so, right along, with that, when I found out that the school, closed down, I remember one classmate asked me what was my take on it, for us, this school getting closed down. I said, hey, you reap what you sow. That's the bottom line. You reap what you sow, because certain staff had fun sowing what they were reaping, literally. I could tell you that, I'm telling you that now, Now, I don't know what else that was happening after I left this school and everything else, because it's been, 16 years now, So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure for certain that they had a lot of other stuff, other reasons why this school done closed down also. And you want to know how I really feel about this, how that big part of me really feel? Check this out. You see that? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Woo. Yeah, that's how I feel about this school, man. Because look, I know nobody ain't perfect when I say this, you know, because I know we all have our days. I'm not perfect because I know I have my days too. But look, karma is the biggest trip. Karma is the biggest gangster that's out there, and it always have been and it always will. You know, karma is what shut this school down. You know, the more that you treat folks in a bad way, whether it's behind the scenes, up front or whatever, the more you're gonna have the karma right back coming back to you. So the same person that you end up kicking hard while you up there is gonna be the same person that you gonna meet when you end up falling down. So you gotta watch how you treat people. You dig what I'm saying? At least do your best to. You dig what I'm saying? And you know, right along with that, hey, you know, with everything that went on, as far as like those certain other students that kind of belittled me behind my back, they wouldn't do it in front of my face because they knew I'd go off. But ones that did that behind my back, guess what? The ones that say, oh, if you don't have no evidence about it, you're gonna be an a-hole and all that. You know what? You know, shut up, please. Because when it comes down to it, hey, the truth, no matter what you do, the end result is the truth is going to always come out. No matter how much people do to hide it, sugarcoat it, bury it, whatever. The truth is going to always come out at the end. That's the end result about that. But far as those certain ones, and for us a few people that believed in me, hey, much shout outs to y'all, much shout outs to, you know, everybody that believed in me. You dig what I'm saying? I appreciate that a whole lot. Yeah, life is good. Yeah, but anyway, hey, you know what, this is my closure video. You dig what I'm saying? And you know what, hey, y'all be successful, y'all stay safe. You know, I'm out here, you know, I got my mask on and gloves. I know it's this this COVID-19 thing going on, so I'm being protected. But you know what? God got my back, and God gonna always have my back. And y'all be safe, y'all stay secure, and I'll holler right back at you. Dig what I'm saying? April 16, 2020. Hey, this Stephan, man, and I'm down south in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting, you know, from the West Coast, from California. And right behind me is this bar that I used to work at. It used to be named the High Tone back in the early 2000s. From when I started working here like in 2002 all the way to 2004 when I was going to school. So yeah, man. That's why, you know, I was, you know, pretty much a janitor here, but at the same time, I was also, security here as well. And man, it was a lot of crazy times at this place too. But it was also some good times as well. So yeah, man, right here on Poplar Avenue, right across the street from Overton Park, from Memphis College of Art, and I was working here while I was going to school, man. This definitely one of the places I worked at. It's now called Growlers now. So as you see the name, you know, and of course a lot of bands that played here, you know, a lot of DJs and stuff like that. It was a cool experience. But you know what? You could do anything you put your mind into. Hey, be safe, be secure, and I'll holler right back at you. April 16, 2020. Hey, this is Stephan, man, down south in Memphis, Tennessee, in the Midtown area. I'm visiting down here from the West Coast, from California, and right behind me is still at Memphis College of Art, but right behind me, not only is the parking lot of where you get your master's degree and the dorm department, but the dorm, well, this is where the master degree building was at. Then the dorms was further down. You dig what I'm saying? As you see, they done tore all this down and made it into pretty much a parking lot. Yeah, man, so it's pretty much flat land now. So it was a couple of other students here that was getting a master's degree, you know, that was getting a hard time too. And while they was while I was speaking up, you know, for people in the undergrad department, they was speaking up. Those two people were speaking up for everybody in the graduate department. So yeah, it was rough, man. But we both got them degrees. Well, all of us, we got them degrees though. But hey, you know what? Karma, just like I said, this is karma. I holler right back at y'all. Y'all be safe. April 16th, 2020. This Stephan visiting down south in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm in the Midtown area, and right behind me is another room and house I used to stay at in the Midtown area while I was going to school. I actually lived here the last 3 years I was in Memphis going to school, you know. But yeah, out of 4.5 years I was in Memphis, I stayed here for 3 years. So it was definitely a good place to live at. Rest in peace to Miss Frances Audubon Crane, in which she welcomed me with open arms, man. And you know, hey, you know, she also, you know, believed in me as well as being an artist too. Yep, this house right here, which you know, right here on Avalon between Poplar and Overton Park. Of course, it's a nice neighborhood, as you see. Yeah, as you see, this is a nice neighborhood, man. And you know, every Sunday morning, she always, you know, gave, you know, pretty much had breakfast, you know, for the neighbors on Sunday morning, in which, man, you know, in which it did, let's just say, it helped me learn how to humble myself to the right people. You dig what I'm saying? It did, you know, just seeing that, you know. And keep in mind, everybody, whatever you do, do not humble yourself to the wrong people, because they will drag you down. Do not do it. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, man, so once you know, this is the last place I stayed at, and heard she passed somewhere back in mid or late 2000s, man. So, you know, but you know what? Y'all be safe. You can do anything you put your mind into. And hey, stay secure, be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. Hey, this April 16, 2020. This Stephan right here in Midtown Memphis, down south of Memphis, Tennessee. And of course, I'm still at the street where I last resided at from 2002 to 2004 on Avalon Street. But the lady that gave me open arms was Frances Audubon Crane, in which they pretty much named the street after her. You see, if you see at the sign behind me. And so, hey, you know, this is just, you know, a part of the closure right here and stuff like that. And you know what, once again, you see this a nice neighborhood as well. And hey, you know, once again, hey, y'all be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. April 16, 2020. Man, it's Stephan here, man. Down south here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm visiting down here from the West Coast, from California. And right here where I'm at is the soap factory I worked at called Valley Products right here, in which, well, now the new name of it is Vanguard Soap now, but I could tell they still got their old sign, Valley Products. But anyway, when I got down here to Memphis from the north side of St. Louis, from the Midwest at the time, I was staying in that shelter called Lighthouse Mission Ministries deep in the hood in North Memphis. In that shelter, they had a temp service that was in there. And this is one of the contracts that they had, that they had. So they ended up giving me a job at Valley Products right here at this soap factory. I was only supposed to have been working here one day, but the supervisors and managers liked how I worked so much, they kept me around. So, I worked here for about 6.5 months here, man. And, of course, got me time to, save some money, get up out of the shelter and get my own place before I started school. So that was a great thing. And one thing about it, man, I ain't gonna lie. I worked hard, but at the same time, it was definitely some eye candy here. It was some nice, good-looking, thick, voluptuous women that worked up in here. Beautiful women, beautiful black women on top of that. You dig what I'm saying? Hey, more than just beautiful women, but it was definitely some beautiful black women that worked here, and I enjoyed it. Well, definitely enjoyed looking at the eye candy. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'll show you around in a bit. Hold on. One of the entrances, and of course you see the other plants, other different, part of it as well, big garages and stuff like that. And including, a big parking lot. So, yeah, this is also, yep, I worked here like in January of 2000 all the way till the middle of July of 2000 before I started working at the printing company with Star Tooth Printing that was located in Midtown, Memphis. And, of course, before I started art college at Memphis College of Art. So, yeah, man, hey, I worked my way up out of some things, man. And like I say, man, you just got to work hard and stay focused, man. And hey, just keep every fake son of a gun out your life for good. You dig what I'm saying? Hey, y'all stay safe and y'all be easy, and I'll holler right back at you. April 16th, 2020. Man, it's Stephan, man, down south in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting from California, from the West Coast. And right where I'm at now is the Lorraine Motel, in which is now called the Civil Rights Museum. This is the place where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated back in 1968. And of course, can't go in due to this COVID-19 thing, but I'll just show you a little bit around. Hold on. Yeah. Right behind me, as you see, the reef right here is the room where he was at when he was assassinated. And of course, these are the two cars of Martin Luther King and other people that were with him at the time when they was, that's still here to this day when this tragedy happened. There's the stone right here, it's written in stone. And of course the room number is 306. That's where he was at when Martin Luther King was assassinated. Now right across the street here is another part of the Civil Rights, National Civil Rights Museum, is the old rooming house that the suspect, James Earl Ray, made the shot at. So back in end of 2003, when I was still going to school in Memphis, they started remodeling this rooming house and made that a part of the National Civil Rights Museum. Oh yeah, I'll see if I can get close to the window where he was at when he made the shot, quote unquote. Hey, this is the closest I can get to it. So where my finger's pointing at, right behind the trees, is pretty much the window where he made the shot at, in which, of course, it didn't look like that then. It was a regular old window, but, that's where he pretty much made the shot at. So they pretty much made this, whole part into, part of the Civil Rights Museum, for people to actually see and look at all the evidence, because he does have, the car that he rode, the weapons he had, IDs, clothes, all that stuff. They even made the room where it still looked at the same way it did back in that time. So as you see, they made a whole lot of improvement over the years. As you see, National Civil Rights Museum. Yeah, as you see, hey, this is pretty much a part of it too. This is the end of it. But yeah, hey, you know what? Hey, y'all be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. Yeah, April 16, 2020, it's Stephan down there in Memphis, Tennessee. We entering Beale Street. You know, you see that Beale Street, you know, pretty much downtown Memphis, the heart of Memphis, you dig what I'm saying? In which, yeah, a lot of stuff be going down here, you dig what I'm saying? As you see, you know, you look at Beale Street, it's pretty much a down south version. There we go, yeah, it's clear now. You see all the different bars and clubs, in which Beale Street is pretty much a Memphis version of Bourbon Street, you know, in New Orleans. You know, that's all Beale Street really is, because you got all the bars and, you know, juke joints and barbecue places and stuff like that. So yeah, this is Beale Street right here, man. You know, home of the blues. Yeah, B.B. King Boulevard. April 16, 2020. Hey, this is Stephan, man. Down here, down south in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, visiting from California. You know, and I'm right here in the college area, you know, at two bars. One bar's, what's that, Newbies of Memphis, and another bar right down next to it is the Bluff Bar, in which, you know, with both of these places, because we right by University of Memphis, aka Memphis State. You know, these two bars are the bars where all the college students still come to at this time, you know, to this day. You know, well, they're not here now due to this epidemic, COVID-19, but yeah, we used to come here, man, and shoot pool, and whenever we got through a semester, you know, we blow off steam or whatever. You know, this is also known as the Highland Strip. You see that billboard right there, that's where the University of Memphis Tigers, you know, do their thing, you know, that's the billboard. But yeah, man, they used to come here, have good times and all that. Right across the street is one of the dorms of Memphis State. So yeah, I know the composure still keep changing, but yeah, man, definitely had some good times right here. Then of course, it's a tattoo parlor. Wait a minute, yeah, tattoo parlor right across the street where my thumb is pointing. If you can see my thumb. And yeah, man, we used to have some good times here. You know, just blowing off steam right after we get through with them semesters, with all them studies and turning in art projects on time and stuff like that. So yeah, the Bluff, you know, sports bar right here, that's one. Yeah, Newbies Memphis, that's two. As you see, the Highland Strip. Yeah, you see that logo? University of Memphis Tigers. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, so there you have it, man. You know, the Highland Strip, right by Memphis University, where all the college students went to, including Memphis College of Art students. You dig what I'm saying? But you know what? Y'all be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. April 17th, 2020. Hey, this is Stephan, man, back out here down south in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting from the West Coast, from California. And where I'm at, I'm right here at Tennessee Regular Baptist Bookstore, in which is right in the borderlines of downtown Memphis and South Memphis, where you know, I remember back in May of 2000, and I came here, you know, because a friend of mine, you know, told me to come here. So the guy that managed this place, Adrian Killebrew, he pretty much, him and his sister and other family members helped me find a place to stay. Well, their family helped me find a place to stay. That's why I stayed in the rooming house over there in Orange Mound on Worthington and Lamar. And I like to give shouts out and thanks to Adrian Killebrew, Jocelyn Killebrew, and the Killebrew family here in Memphis that helped me find a place to stay. Once I finally got up out of those dorms, even though I was only in the dorms for one semester. But yeah, this the bookstore right here, man. And yeah, I also have the article right here, you know, with my cards and stuff like that, you know, from the Lamplighter newspaper. So hey, it's easy to peep that, you know. So yeah, so I definitely like to give thanks to the Killebrew family, and you know, they also believed in me as well when I was when I came down here from St. Louis, going back to school, turning my whole life around, you know, from them streets, you know, from running them streets and all. And I pretty much told them my situation when I first got up out the shelter and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I definitely give big shout outs to the Killebrew family, man, for, you know, finding me a place to stay. But you know what? Hey, be safe out here. Be successful as much as you can and everything. God got my back, and make sure that God got yours. And hey, you know, hey, y'all be safe at the most part. I'll holler right back at you. April 17, 2020. Man, it's Stephan here down south, down here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm visiting out here from the West Coast, from California. And where I'm at right now, I'm deep in the hood in South Memphis on McLemore and College, where the Stax Museum is right here. You know, Soulville. You dig what I'm saying? You know, so as you see right behind me, you know, the Stax logo. Then, of course, it's the landmark right here, where, you know, all these guys like Isaac Hayes and the Barkays, Albert King, and a lot of others, you know, they actually, you know, you look at this street down on McLemore right here, they actually, back in those days, at those times, they used to walk up and down this street going to this studio right here like it ain't nothing. You know, just regular people. But they made this a museum, in which this is definitely the good likes of it, right along with, as you see right behind me, right along with the Music Institute, you know, to give back to the community, you know, as well as making a museum for all the artists that been here. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, it's closed now because of this COVID-19 epidemic, but hey, yeah, Satellite Record Shop. Let me see if I can get another good sign of it right here. Yeah, at the same record shop that's next to it, you can also get posters, books, pictures of the history of the Stax artists that were here, you know, that performed here, did their studio time here and everything else. So it's definitely a great history to come down to look at. Yeah, look at the chromed out fire hydrant. Yeah. Even the bus stop is hit up saying Soulville, because that's where we at. You dig what I'm saying? There you have it. You just saw the outside of the Stax Museum, Soulsville, in which, of course, due to this epidemic, hey, you know, we couldn't go inside. The place is closed, but hey, only thing I could do is get the outside of it. But hey, you know what? You be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. Yeah, April 17th, 2020, the Stephan, man, down south here in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting from California and the West Coast, from the West Coast. And I'm pretty much right down here on Beale Street, Yeah, as you see, hey, this is pretty much like, I guess they call it like the Memphis version of Bourbon Street, you know, down in New Orleans. This is a Memphis version of Bourbon Street, right here on Beale Street. Of course, you see it's empty right now due to the, to the epidemic and all. And yeah, a lot of bars, restaurants, juke joints, all that. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Memphis music, man, home of the blues. B.B. King's Blues Club, as you see. Blues City Cafe and Bar, Blues City General Store. Yeah. Black Diamond. Tater Reds. King's Palace Cafe. King's Palace Tap Room right next to it. The Blues Hall, that's the juke joint right there. Yeah, this for all my pork eaters, but I don't eat pork though, but any pork eaters, they'll definitely love this place. But I prefer the chicken. Silky's world famous Irish O'Sullivan's. Silky O'Sullivan's world famous Irish bar. Nothing but history, as you see. Wet Willie's. Oh yeah. Another part of Wet Willie's. Oh yeah, nice, good bar. The Tin Roof, another old juke joint. Yeah, you see all this stuff is closed due to the epidemic of COVID-19. Yeah, Memphis Original Sports Bar. There's a museum right here. Willis Collection Museum and Gallery. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, I'm a man. And I wish this museum was open, but you know how that go. It is what it is. Lee's Blue No Bar and Grill, another place that got some good food. Too bad you can only take out instead of dine in. Oh well. Yeah. The end of Beale Street, home of the blues, baby. Hey, y'all be safe. And I'll holler right back at y'all. April 18th, 2020. Man, it's Stephan right here down south in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting from the West Coast, from California. And where I'm at now is the historic Sun Studios right here, where a lot of different artists, pretty much got they mark at. You dig what I'm saying? One of the starts, right along with Stax, of course. Much love to Stax. And yeah, you see that big old guitar right there. Yeah. Yeah, of course, you see the entrance with the guitar. Of course, that's what it looked like. Sun Studio. There's Sam Phillips Avenue. Well, that's what they call it, honoring his name. Yeah, one of the birthplaces of rock and roll, right along with Stax. So there you have it. So y'all go ahead and be safe, and I'll holler right back at you. April 19th, 2020. Hey, this is Stephan down here and down south in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm visiting from West Coast, from California. And of course, I'm getting ready to go back to the West Coast. But before I do, I'm just letting you know that I'm happen to be here for a moment in Orange Mound, Memphis, in one of the old neighborhoods, in which, as you see in the background, I like to give a shout out for one with all the graffiti artists that did all this good work right here. You dig what I'm saying? But before I get to more of that, this is the first time I done been back in Memphis within 16 years, right after I graduated from Memphis College of Art in May of 2004. And it dawned on me yesterday that, when I left, 2 weeks after I graduated from Memphis College of Art in May of 2004, 2 weeks after I graduated, I had me a 97 Chevy Lumina, no, 96 Chevy Lumina, and blue Chevy Lumina, and I pretty much got up out of here, man. I left up out of Memphis on frustration mode like crazy because of my experiences here. And not all, I have some good experiences, but it was a large number of them that definitely wasn't that good. So definitely including when I was going to the school, man. So, with them giving me a hard time and all, so I pretty much just had to just hurry up, and get out. You dig? So I had to get out, and then I remember that when I shot straight to California, I didn't look back since. That's how frustrated I was, because the only thing I was looking for was an opportunity. I had to keep finding ways to make opportunities. You dig what I'm saying? And then keep in mind, when I left Memphis, 2 weeks after graduation, I left early that morning at 7 o'clock. It got to the point I drove so much that I got to New Mexico at 12 midnight. That's how much I was driving. Yeah, I was frustrated, but I'm definitely glad that, I came back to visit, man, for closure and things like that. And, and of course, school closing down, yay! But anyway, as I was riding around town, I admired, a lot of the graffiti art that's up now that represents the blues and everything, the soul of Memphis. Let me just show you around right quick. Hold on. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite ones right here. Rest in peace, to Isaac Hayes, man. My mom still got his albums, Isaac Hayes albums to this day, so. DJ Paul, 3-6 Mafia. One of my favorite rappers, of course. Yeah, man, my visit back here in Memphis was definitely, great. I couldn't complain. Got me some good soul food, some good catfish. Went down on Beale Street, but even though it wasn't a lot of people there, due to this COVID-19 epidemic, but it's all good though. My Memphis back, it's still early in the morning. My visit back here was definitely pretty good. I was glad I came back to get this closure. Shout outs to all the graffiti artists in Memphis, especially the graffiti artists here in Orange Mound that did all this good work. You dig what I'm saying? And of course, shout out to other graffiti artists in Memphis as well as a whole. And of course, shout out to all the graffiti artists in the world. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know what? This has been a great trip, and hey, I'm on my way back, and I'll holler right back at you. Y'all be safe.